Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive Safe Dave here, along with Sir Rick manning the boards. We are here on this beautiful day, and guess what we have? This is your news source. This is your place to come for all of the logistic news that you need in the United States. I believe it all starts right here, Sir Rick. I believe it all comes through this channel. We give the word first. They grab it. They run with it once we've done it, and you have it here each and every day. And I hope you're having a fantastic Monday. It was a light show at my house this morning about 4 a.m. Sir Rick, did you have the same light show this morning? It came through, blowing through, and woke everybody up. And it was an incredible light show going on this morning. I will tell you that I don't know if you saw this or not in the news. I saw Boris Becker was sentenced this week to 2.5 years of jail for fraud in regards to bankruptcy. 3-time Wimbledon champion, $50 million a year, still couldn't pay his bill, filed bankruptcy, went to court, and they caught him in some double dealings and some secrets. He's wound up with about 2.5 years sentence, I believe, yesterday or on Friday. So he'll be doing about 2.5 year stint for not being truthful to the courts. I think the judge said in a statement about it, he said, everything comes down to the fact that he wasn't remorseful. He didn't show any care. He hid all of his dealings. He lied to the court, and they aren't going to put up with it. So they made a big example of him as it came through to the court. Anything you got going on, Sir Rick, in the news today? Anything you got out there you'd like to discuss this morning?
Well, we actually started off with a question to me. Of course, you went right through it and didn't give me a chance to respond. I don't know if you responded yourself or not, but yeah, Boris Becker. Obviously, I mean, you break a law, you tend to go to jail. Remorseful or not, I don't know if remorse would have done it for him exactly 100%. If he would have shown a lot of remorse, I'm sure he's going to jail after transferring money out of his account to try to hide it from the bankruptcy side. You can be remorseful for a lot of things, Drive Safe Day. It doesn't mean you're not going to pay the price.
I didn't say that. I just said,
that was
sometimes
one of the things. I get it, but yeah, you know what?
I mean, even I'm sorry
on your side,
sometimes
over
helps.
there on the left, you know what? You're sorry. First of all, you shouldn't have been. Just forgive him. All of that. No pleas, none of that stuff. And matter of fact, if we didn't have any pleas, he wouldn't have got caught anyway. And then why waste the money on Boris Becker? And obviously going to jail. Drive Safe. Maybe your boys from FedEx can help him out of that. Did you see? I think it was North Carolina or South Carolina. The 8 workers for FedEx split $2 million in the lottery. That's cool. Like $177,000 a piece. Always cool when people get a little bit of extra cold hard cash with them. That's a lot of cash, Drive Safe, and it's not enough to quit, though.
No.
That's right. You know what? Oh. How many of those 8? I just wonder, why did I freaking let him in? Or him, and I should have just bought it myself. Wonder how greed is stepping in and taking over those thoughts and comments today.
I don't know. I think they're just happy to be a part of a winning team and going in and $177,000 cash.
I'm just telling you, though. I bet you they're saying so-and-so shouldn't have been in here anyway.
Oh, my God.
You know what? He's never at work, and he still owed me money. He didn't even pay up front.
He didn't pay.
It's all of that. He didn't give me us 25 cents for that $2 ticket we bought.
Yeah,
and why does he deserve to be in at this time? I can promise you, when money's involved, that change. Just think, Drive Safe. If it's 177, now you're splitting another 177,000 amongst you and 7 amigos. Wonder how many of those folks are all of a sudden not showing up to work. I don't know where they are.
They're going to collect. Yeah. Somebody's got to go collect. Somebody's got to drive down there to the state board and
I guarantee you they're all taken off that day. There's nobody.
Okay, so we're not trusting everybody to bring home the cash.
I don't think that's happening. Hey, Dave, you know what? So disappointed in what we are. I mean, we are the safest station in the nation. And I was reminded by Mr. Ralph Furlong. We know Ralph Furlong, a contributor to BCB Live. From the World Health, he's not World Health Organization, he's World Safety guy, right? I mean, he's not just Florida safety. He's not just Panama safety. This dude is like world safety. And he sends me a message. He goes, really, Rick? on April the 28th? You didn't celebrate the day of safety? That's like the big day. It's like, and Ralphie, I'm sorry for that.
I didn't know about the day of safety.
No, and you know what? And it's shame on, it's World Day for Safety and Health at Work 2022, April the 28th. And Drive Safe Dave, we failed, Ralphie. We failed the world.
What was the name of it?
It's World Day for Safety and Health.
World Day.
Yes, everybody knows that except for Dave. We've got to go back to it. So I thought about that, Dave, and I said, how many other days, because I don't want to just let Ralphie down. I don't want to let Ralphie down. I don't want to let anybody down that has to do with this. So, Dave, we're going to talk a minute about that. And as we look at the day today, May 2nd, you know what, Dave, we got to realize that today it's Baby Day, observed today. Here's one, Dave, and I'm sorry you can't participate.
Baby Day.
It's Baby Day. Listen, I'm sorry you can't celebrate. You know what? But to my brothers out there, a happy holiday to brothers and sisters day. Dave, you can't celebrate that. You are an only child. I hate that for you. You don't know what it's like to have that brother and that brotherly love. National Fire Day. Boy, are they celebrating that in New Mexico right now?
California,
or what?
New Mexico.
Well, they take it to another level out there. Hey, it's also World Tuna Day.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
We get tuna fish sandwich today?
You know what? I don't ever. You know what? But you know what? It's important to somebody. It's important to the tuna fishermen.
Industry, the canners. Those canners that are up and down the coast, they got to be celebrated.
Wonder if sales really go up a lot today. All of a sudden we go and buy a lot of tuna fish to the sea, and a lot more of that canned tuna gets
starfish? What was that dude's name that was on the starfish too? You know what I'm talking about? Does he take off today? Is that his day?
Yeah. I just wonder. But you know what? This is the safest station in the nation. When we talk about safest station in the nation, Dave, we celebrate that. We want to encourage you to wear your clothing, encourage you to be seen out there, wear them hard hats, make Ralphie proud out there. Ralphie Furlong, we got to get it. Where's he been at? How come we can't is he like so booked up we can't get him on the show again?
Probably.
Is he so booked up? Is he finding other things to do? We're getting him back on the show, Dave.
How did he send you an email that just said he's disappointed? He must have watched that show that day.
Yeah, he sent me a message. Yes, he goes, because we were talking.
Why did he call in?
Listen to this. He goes, so we were talking about freight the next day, and I guess we're going to do a freight and review the next day. And he goes, how can you do freight and review when it's National Health Day? I'm like, wow, that's a guy that didn't just read the book. He lives the book. And Dave, when you live safety, you live safety. There's a difference in talking safety and living safety. We've seen that in drivers. We see it in some of these crazy videos that we show. Man, there's, and we're going to see some today. I'm going to encourage you to stick around here after the interview. We got an interview coming up next, but there's a video there, Dave, and we see some unsafe actions on the four-wheelers. We see some bad decisions by the big trucks, and those videos are there to make us think a little bit, to perhaps learn from them, because we got to make sure that we're doing what we can to uplift, to make to improve on our image.
Yeah, you got to watch some tape on yourself and get better. And not only that, learn from some of the mistakes out there. Find a way to take an advantage of other people's, what they see. And these are great videos. These are recent videos sent in to us so that we can view these, go over these, and see these. And what we'll do when we come back in about 60 seconds, we'll come back and we will go directly to our interview, and then later on in the day, we'll watch some videos. So we'll be back in just about 60 seconds.
Well, nice try, but before that, we are going to talk a minute on that. We're going to talk a little fuel, Dave. We have, what's wrong?
What?
Okay, well, you know what? Drive Safe Dave's the host. We'll do what he wants.
What?
This is where you have to learn to sometimes just go with it.
What are we doing about fuel?
Utility
This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high-quality, ANSI-certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with a Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear gives you the added benefit of providing a barrier to liquids, dirt, and grime, keeping you cleaner longer, brighter longer, and therefore safer longer. Get your high visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount. Hi, this is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better. The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road. You got to be prepared to stop. And when you look at that and you understand the situation that you're in, you got to know that it's going to change. You got to expect it to change, and you can't run those lights. You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today.
And one that we're feeling in is the current, well, there's two main problems. Changeovers and turnovers between supply chain teams and the new need for new skills that are occurring in the supply chain. And we're filling in those challenges with knowledge. There's around two different areas of supply chain that we're facing for need of professionals, which is trucking industry, and supply chain professionals for the planning, logistics, and distribution.
And when you talk to these people, you talk to everyone within the industry, right, about what's going on and about solutions when they encounter problems, right? That's basically what you guys are doing.
Right. So we're helping supply chain managers and pretty much at CXOs and VP levels with their problems or their current needs to level up their skills in their headcounts. And well, from what we've seen is that they may have new people coming in, students getting out of college, or perhaps they're changing industries. So what we're doing is helping those people getting the skills to ramp up quickly so they can overcome the current challenges that we're facing in our global supply chain.
So, so you're basically just a little bit different than a normal or just another educational institution. Your direct focus is within just our industry, right? So you're grabbing those guys, those people, those gals out there, and kind of giving them the skill set for immediate effect in here. Just because you come out of college with a business degree doesn't mean you know a darn thing about logistics, right?
Right, and our value added is twofold. First, we build a community. So we're developing currently an app. It should be launching next week or so. And all of our current students will be joining this community so we can all be together sharing our problems, how we're facing those problems. And number two, what we do is supply chain transformation. So once we go into a company or a industry, and we start to teaching people, we're not only telling them best practices, policy making, and new skills, but we are also helping them deploy supply chain projects to improve their companies.
So when you do that and you talk to these people, what are some of the genuine challenges that you have or that you face immediately when you grab these students or these people? What are some of the most, I guess, what I would like to know, and as we talk about it, what are some of the things that really pop out that you give them the knowledge that they didn't really have before?
Well, actually, we have two types of challenges. Challenges from people who have 30 years of experience, 20 years of experience, and people who are recently joining the ranks. I was once told that you can have 30 years of experience, but those 30 years of experience are from decades ago, and now we're facing new challenges. So what we've seen is the culture and change management of changing the status quo is the most complex of us. So we may have a status quo of doing policymaking from supply chain practices from decades ago, but those practices are already outdated from the new challenge that we're having, the new logistics that we're having, the new global industry that we're having. So we're helping with the change management by doing these transformational programs. And with the new people, what we're actually doing is helping them by introducing them to business cases and best practices of the new way of doing supply chain planning.
You talk about that, and I'll tell you, it wasn't. It's really only been recently that in every household and every single person is I guess getting better knowledge on supply chain disruptions. There wasn't years ago. If you would have said supply chain, the majority of the population wouldn't have a clue what you were talking about. But you can't turn on the TV now, Mauricio. You can't watch news today and not see something in a 30-minute news episode. You're going to see something in regards to a supply chain crisis out there on the news. Do you agree? I mean, it's just crazy how that's pivotally changed.
Right. So if you look back 5 years ago, supply chain was a new terminology. Nobody was paying to supply chain attention. And that's pretty much what happened. We were so focused in cost accounting, trying to maximize profits and forgetting about supply chain fragility. And once we started seeing a small problem, like that boat that was stuck in the Cairo Canal, everything started to have problems in the world. All of the disruptions, we weren't prepared for it. So now we're actually having supply chain risk analysis to prevent future problems from damaging corporations and companies, because we're so fragile right now from the way we were doing things. And if I were to have an example of a company that was well prepared, I will actually say Toyota. They've been having these experiences with the Fukushima earthquake that was struck Japan in a few years ago, if I remember, it was 10 years ago. And they were well prepared for supply chain disruptions. All the other companies that were trying to maximize their profits and lowering their inventories. What was Toyota actually doing is increasing inventories. So they were already planning ahead of possible disruptions. They were having between 1 and 3 months of inventory. They were asking that for their suppliers as well. Some suppliers were having increases in their costs. But I think that from what we saw during the beginning of the pandemic, Toyota was able to go ahead with all of those problems and keep selling trucks and vehicles.
And I think those are lessons well learned in the industry. And I'll tell you, as we look back and we focus on that period of supply chain, we went from our balance of where money is being spent on service and where money is being spent on goods, and we shifted a lot of that service expenditures into goods. And when you buy more goods, and even a few percent makes a huge demand, and not only that I mean, you're talking about millions of more metric tons of goods coming into the country on just a couple of percentage points. Shifting from, because there was nowhere to spend. We weren't traveling. We weren't going anywhere. We were standing around our house looking and going, you know what, I could fix the kitchen up a little bit. Maybe I do need a new refrigerator, and I need the new fence outside. I'm sitting around the house. I'm not going anywhere. Maybe I do need to do some stuff around here. And these types of things created that need for goods. And what it did was people just started trying to figure out better ways to bring that stuff in, and that demand, where an already stressed supply chain almost broke it completely, right? Just that just that few percent swing.
Right, so we have different types of disruptions. We have the consumer end that, as you mentioned, we have more time available, so we're looking into ways to consume or to spend our time evenings. We were at home, and one of the major industries that were having or facing new demand was in the construction. So people were going more into Home Depot, looking into ways to improve their home appliances. And that was the end consumer creating bullwhips effect into the demand. And because we were already having problems in our supplies, that was also creating a bullwhip effect in our supplies. So all of these bullwhips were creating problems and creating more strain and stress into everyday supply chains. So if we were having problem with one industry, all of the other industries are interconnected. And if we have one single node with one single problem, it can create a spread out problem into other industries as well. We share warehouses, we share trackings, we share the ports, we share the trains, and all of this is just creating more problems. But I do agree with what we were saying. It was something that wasn't prepared for.
Yeah, and you know, when we're sitting here talking about it, we talked about Toyota, we talked about, you bring up a couple of good points that I just wanted to touch on, and that's inventory. You know, we're seeing a larger need for developing and expanding current inventories, right? And managing current inventories better than we ever have before because of these supply chain, to minimize these supply chain eruptions, correct?
Right. So there's few points that we should be making clear, and I appreciate that you take this point, this topic. First of all, we've been focused too much into lean management, and I'm a lean practitioner. And plenty of companies were making this mistake, was reducing inventories, and it's never been about reducing inventories, always been about optimizing inventories. And while other companies were reducing their inventories to 1 or the lowest they could be to 0, Toyota was actually increasing inventories. So they were already prepared for disruptions into their supply chains. They were already having safety stocks more than our companies. So inventories is not about reducing. Inventories is about preventing or reducing fluctuations into disruptions. That's one thing. The other thing is, I was actually taught this by Toyota while I was working with a project with them. A company or a shareholder, for every dollar a shareholder puts into a company, 10% goes into administrative costs, 20% goes into operations, and 70% of that dollar, 70 cents of the dollar, goes into supply chain, inventory, logistics, transportation. So we've been focused too much for the last 40, 50 years just in the operations and the administrative costs, that we've forgotten too much about lead times and inventory and logistics. So all of those 70% of the dollar has been forgotten. We took it for granted. We took it for granted our planning system. We took for granted our warehouses, and we took for granted our logistics, our truckers. And now that we're facing problems, that we put in thin margins into those 70% of the dollar, now we're seeing problems in those areas. So those are also opportunities. Now that we're facing problems and challenges, we're seeing opportunities into how we can improve our warehouses, how can we improve our supply chain planning, and how can we improve our trucking industry and the way that our truckers do their work.
And I'm going to ask a quick question to you, Mauricio. I got here in my notes, what do we need to know about Industry 4.0? I'm not sure I know what that is. Could you tell me what that is and what that means?
Right, so IoT or Internet of Things or Industry 4.0 are kind of a supply chain buzzword of a few years ago, and now Industry 4.0 is starting to become a business terminology. And basically what it does is using digital software and robotics into our supply chains, our operations, and our manufacturing to improve efficiencies and go ahead into increasing competitiveness. So if a company was having a person doing a assembly line, working in an assembly line, final assembly, now we're helping with collaborative robots into increasing production, doing more work with less things, or doing less work and achieving more things.
Yeah, so that kind of leads into technology's role in how we're going to help benefit some of these supply chains, and not just that, but how are other ways technology is going to help us be better? Because I think that's one thing that we do well here. I think we see a problem, it jumps on us, and then we figure out a way to handle it back. But really, I think necessarily we're going to have to use different technologies, not just one or two, but all forming technologies to be better at this logistics chain going forward.
Right, and sometimes less is actually more. So we've been going forward with reducing inventories that we created or we found about a possible problem around that. And what I've seen and we've seen is that there's more systems using AI, more information, more visibility, and faster communications between silos and functional areas. And that can actually create nervousness, which is the planning or the MRP, the planning system is actually updating more often than our systems can actually react to. And that can also create more inventory. And what people or companies are actually doing is putting more information, which creates more inventory, which creates higher costs. And what people is actually doing is trying to manipulate the ERP systems into going in for less inventory. I'm gonna add two people, Carol Patak and Chad Smith. They're partners with the Demand Driven Institute and connected with the Association for Supply Chain Management of America. And what they're actually showing with their new methodology, which actually was 20 years ago, the demand-driven planning is how we can do more planning with less information, because more information can create nervousness. And it's basically putting firewalls. So firewalls, when the consumer end goes into Home Depot and they're trying to create better home improvements, we put a firewall into that planning, into the point of sale. And when we're having problems into our supply production that we're having in other countries or other raw material sources, we put a firewall into that planning. And we create buffers to kind of reduce those types of problems or disruptions. And I do believe that with those types of methodologies that we're introducing, you're going to find that into Coca-Cola for Africa, Shell company, Aptiv, which is a major automotive supplier. Those companies are already using these methodologies, and that's where we're also helping with the Supply Chain 101 to teach and deploy this type of new methodologies and knowledge.
You paid a bunch of keywords that I tried to zone in on what you were saying. I get that you're utilizing like a software to help buyers and purchasers to not react too quickly or to certain trends that aren't long-term trends but are short-term trends, to try to measure that buffer is what you're basically trying to say, right? Just kind of measure those panic moments and allow the purchaser or the buyer to move their inventories in a more steady stream instead of in a more trend line instead of these huge spikes and valleys, right?
Right. So in a perfect world, we will see somebody going into a store, purchasing something. The warehouse will give that product. A planner from a distribution center will simply say, okay, somebody took a gallon of milk I'm going to request a gallon of milk from the purchasing agent, and the purchasing agent is going to request to the trucker, which is going to be transporting the milk from the factory. That's the perfect world. If we were
It doesn't
to have
happen like that?
1 day lead time, right?
It doesn't happen like that already, Mauricio. That's not how it works.
It doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen like that. What we're seeing is disruptions. What we're seeing is lead times that are over what we have for our planning horizons. And what we have to do is normally put in safety stocks. And the problem with that is we cannot have too much of inventory because it costs to the shareholder. So we as planners, purchasing agents, we have to manage and trick. There's this saying that a planner is actually a magician who has this magical, who's always trying to find the perfect solution. Because if we were to follow what normal ERP or MRP systems will tell us, it will create more chaos. So that's why we have planners to create the decision making. If we were to decide to follow or not a planning plan. So that's the disruption that we're having. And once the planner has the master schedule or the planning execution for the whole week, he or she is going to try to translate that into the purchasing agent. So 1 week for the planner is going to translate for 1 month or 3 months for the purchasing agent. So the purchasing agent has to multiply or forecast or try to guess 3 times as much as the planner. And that goes into more trackers bringing in more of what we don't need and less of what we actually need, because there's so much information being multiplied across for weeks and months of what we actually don't need. So that's the problem that we're facing. We don't know what we're going to have to bring in tomorrow because we don't know what we're going to have to supply for the end consumer. And if we were to put in an example, toothpaste, 70 years ago, we were only having one single SKU or one single option of SKU. If you remember Ford, that quote from Ford, it will say, everybody can have any vehicle they want as long as they request it in color black. But now we have green colors, we have blue colors, and for the toothpaste, we have over 150 SKUs. We have shell toothpaste, we have no-floor toothpaste, we have different types of color for toothpaste. We have even Easter egg toothpaste. I don't know if there's going to be a summer toothpaste edition, but what I'm going with this is that there's so much products, and that only adds more complexity of what we have to plan and what we actually have to bring into our distributions and supplies.
All right, Mauricio, I'm going to ask you to look into that crystal ball that you were talking about earlier, that moment. Look into there and tell me where we're going to be in the next year or the next couple of years with supply chain and the patterns of supply. Tell me where we're going to be.
I think the companies are going to start looking for more digital options. And now what we're actually having with GPT-3 or GPT-4 in the next coming days, which is technologies for AI, that's going to be helpful for companies and supply chain people to forecast and trying to find answers and patterns into the future. So that's going to be helpful for more companies in the coming years. If I were to guess, and from what I've seen in the market right now in this last year and this current year, companies are deploying quickly into these new type of solutions using AI for their planning tools.
All right. Well, I do appreciate it, Mauricio, and I thank you for, you've thrown us with a lot of data, a lot of information. I appreciate you making some of the most difficult things simple for us to understand. We may ask you back here on the show again. I appreciate you coming on, but before you get out of here, we ask all our guests, if you could say your name, who you work for, and that you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Can you do that?
Of course. I'm Mauricio Solano. I'm with BCB Live, and this is the safest station on the nation.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Good morning and welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Hey, it is National Wildfire Awareness Month, and so just want to bring that up. You know, as it starts to dry out, those wildfires become more of an issue. We're going to jump into some weather, then we're going to take a short break and go to safety. Right now, winds are starting to make their comeback. This is current right now, so you're seeing winds from the Gulf Coast all the way up through North Platte, Nebraska, into the Nebraska area, and then out into New Mexico and Colorado. That's currently, the winds are pretty strong, and they're only going to get stronger this morning. By about 10 o'clock, we should see some gusts. There are some possible gusts up in these areas of over 50 miles an hour. So we really got to keep an eye on those and see what's going on with them. I mean, see Oklahoma City, gust around 40 miles an hour by 2 o'clock this afternoon. And, you know, we go into the overnight hours. They do die down a little bit. But as we shift to tomorrow, we're going to see them shift out to the east a little bit, and you're going to see Iowa and Illinois, Indiana, and up through the Memphis, Tennessee area pick up a lot of winds tomorrow. And a lot of that is driven right now by what's going on precipitation-wise. And we're going to take a quick look at that. Here's current. You know, we see some pretty strong storms happening in Oklahoma, up back through Kansas, central Kansas, up into the North Platte, Nebraska area, Colorado, where we saw some of those stronger winds developing a little bit later and coming on with the strong gusts. Be aware any of these storms can spawn tornadoes, very high winds and gusts. And so if you're in an area where the weather is kicking up and getting nasty and severe, pull over, park it, wait it out. Most of them don't last very long. As we go into this afternoon, we're seeing the storm shift a little bit to the east. Kansas City again is going to see some possibility of some thunderstorms here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and a little bit east this afternoon. When we go into the overnight hours, a little bit later, those storms definitely shift up into the east, and you're seeing it all the way from southern Oklahoma through west Arkansas, southern Missouri, up into Iowa, Illinois. And tomorrow it even shifts a little bit further east, and you're starting to see Indiana, Ohio, Illinois picking up rain. Still a chance of rain and some severe storms tomorrow morning into tomorrow afternoon in far eastern Texas. Temperature-wise, well, I'm going to point one thing out. Today, North Platte, Nebraska is expecting some snow. They could get 1 to 3 inches, but the temperature should be warm enough that none of it should stick around. They are going to, you know, be above freezing all day until the overnight hours where they'll get a little bit colder, but still some snow sticking around. Like I said, winds are starting to come back. So be aware of that. Lots of thunderstorms in the central United States. If you see that they're developing, get that weather station, pull over. Don't try driving through a severe storm because they can spawn those tornadoes and high winds. With that, we'll take a short break.
Hi, this is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better. The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road. You got to be prepared to stop, and when you look at that and you understand the situation that you're in, you got to know that it's going to change. You got to expect it to change, and you can't run those lights. You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today. Hey, good morning, and we're back with some much crazy going on weather. And you said it was what weather? Fire Day? What did you say?
It is National Wildlife Awareness Month.
National Wildlife. What does that mean?
Wildfire. No, I'm sorry. I said National Wildfire Awareness Month. It means that we need to be preparing for, you know, as it starts to dry out, the summer months come on, the high winds, the precipitation goes away. A lot easier to get those fires. So
only you can prevent forest fires. I believe it was told to me a long time ago by a big guy in a big hat.
You know, that's true. You know, a while back, a driver said down in Louisiana, he said, hey, you got to tell your drivers to stop flicking these live cigarettes out. Even though it's the spring of the year, there's a lot of dense underbrush that dries out in a hurry with these high winds.
Especially these high winds, it's just asking for trouble because they will catch, they will burn, and they will kill. You know, I see the drought still heavy in L.A. and that Southern California region. That's a tinderbox waiting to go up, especially with all the winds that are going over there. I noticed that you showed some high winds east of the Sierra Madres over there by Reno and Sparks. Those look to be tough, too. Anytime you have high winds like that, over 50 miles an hour, you are asking for trouble when it comes to fires. because they can't control them. I'll tell you what, good information to know. I did not know that about this month, but we'll keep an eye on it.
Well, there's about 30 national whatever months for May, but I thought, the wildfire one probably.
One for each day. And then every day has a different day.
Yes, it
When's
does.
Taco Day? When's Hamburger Day? I need to know these
Well, we have
days.
Cinco de Mayo coming up pretty darn
We
soon.
do have Cinco de Mayo coming up pretty darn quick. All right, sir. What are we talking about? You're bringing a new safety topic. You come to me hard every week with a fantastic safety topic. What is the safety topic this week? I got to know.
Okay, here you go. 100 deadliest days.
Oh, yeah. We are fast approaching that, right?
That's right. It runs from Memorial Day to Labor Day, and it's the 100 most deadliest days on the roads. And so we just want to raise a focus that, what was it, November 7th, 2000, when the last time Texas had a day without a fatality. We're coming up to the 100 deadliest days across the United States. We just have to, be more aware, be less distracted, slow it down, increase our space, yield the right of way. Hey, defensive driving habits. And like I said, so it starts, the unofficial start for it is Memorial Day, and then it wraps up around Labor Day. 7 people die per day on the roadways, typically on this. And so, and the teenage fatality rate is 43% for this time period in accidents. So just have to really be aware of it, just have to raise the focus. We have to be talking about it. We have to make drivers aware. They have to take it to their families and let them know, hey, this is a dangerous time, more dangerous time to be on the roadways.
Yeah, it's that the sun's up further. People are going out on vacation. People are running around, running to the beach, jumping in their cars, doing all of this travel, and it gets scary out there on the roads. People, we've got to slow down. I'll tell you that the secret key ingredient is speed and space. We do that during the 100 deadliest days. We can turn this around and make this the 100 safest days if we get the word out and we do what we need to do.
Absolutely. And before we go to videos, just a reminder that CVSA Road Check Blitz is scheduled for May 17th and 19th. Fast approaching. This year they're going to focus on wheel ends. And so just a safety tip reminder.
Coming up. Scheduled stops. Get ready for it. I'm not sure. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready? Hey, get out and do the pre-trip. You won't have anything to worry about on those wheel ends, I promise you.
Yep, do your pre-trip. You find something wrong, get it taken care of. Don't leave it for the next person. Just let somebody know, get it fixed right away, and then the problem goes away.
Absolutely. It's pretty easy to spot those wheel end issues. You just have to pay attention to it. Look real closely, see if you have any of that worn grease, any rust, any of that stuff going on. Make sure all the parts are there. I'll tell you, that's a good key. If all the lug nuts are located on the wheel, that's always a good basis point to start off. Take a good look at that wheel, not just the tire. Don't just kick the tire. Don't just look for flats and what have you. Actually look at the wheel end and see what you're looking at. Make sure the seal's there. Make sure it's not leaking. Make sure you're having everything that you need to. There's no warble, no play, no goof, no give in that side, whether it be on the axle, drive axles, or steer axle, and or even the trailer axles, right? Pay attention to what's going on there when we're talking about those wheel ends, and we got that coming up not too far away.
Not too far away.
You want to make sure you know when it is, what it is, and how it's going down, so we got it going on. All right, sir, we got any videos to talk about today?
Oh, I'm sure we do.
All right, we're going to start it off. We're going to start it off here with a video here. Sometimes there's just not enough lanes out there, and we've got to create our own. This gets the creativity award here.
Yeah, merge lane is ending. Our driver in this video is doing a great job. And, here comes that guy along that right side, passing, on the breakdown lane, coming up to a merge point. Just so many dangerous things. Their driver in this video does a really nice job because if you notice, all the traffic's pulling away from it. As soon as he recognizes, there's a vehicle come along, lets off and brakes just a little bit and lets the crazy get away.
Wow, that's a little bit crazy going on right there, wheeling around on the no lane.
Yeah, out of room. Let's go into the no lane, and then
not even ramping, just using the shoulder.
Merge point, and so yes, crazy.
All right, here we have one here where we have a yellow light up ahead that's may turn red. So what do?
This is really good. We got a flashing yellow light out there, and how many times have we seen drivers and people get out into that middle of intersection, then all of a sudden they don't have time to make that turn? This driver, no way. He stops back there and waits for it. Make sure that he's going to have plenty of clearance before he gets out into that intersection. So I just love it. I mean, it's talk about packing your patience. The driver definitely did a great job there. Yielded on that yellow arrow. Love it.
Hey, we're going to show this one more time, and we're going to show this here because I'd mentioned Creativity Award, and you know, sometimes there's just not enough lanes. You've got to make your own. Look at the four-wheeler creating their own lane. Nothing to really brag home about, but what are your thoughts on this one?
You know,
Okay, the off-road choice, not a good idea.
Yeah.
First of all, it's illegal.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, this is an illegal move. And right here, if you're pulling a trailer into this a soft area, danger. And these bobtails will roll over. They can flip over. They can roll over. This is not the good move. Hey, you know what? Be patient. Be patient.
Hey, but let's go to this right here, Dale, our safety professional. I'm going to ask you. So we see the video right here. But what if the driver is running out of hours and this is all they have to do? Their clock is going to be up. They see this traffic. They've got to get off the clock. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, it's just a bad choice no matter what. One, it's illegal. Two, you should never be taking your truck off-road like that. So you're running out of hours. Call your safety department. Let them know, hey, I'm caught up in this traffic jam. Normally I could make it through that because it looks like the traffic's probably heavier. There may be an accident going on in there. And so you just have to let them know and work with them on that. You know, if you have plenty of hours available, don't know what the driver had, but I mean, you shouldn't be doing this type of thing to conserve hours. It's not the right thing. And so, I mean, there's options there. If you stay on the road, you run out of hours, talk to your safety, talk to your planning manager, let them know what's going on and make arrangements. But let's do the safe thing. Let's do the right thing. Let's stay on the roads.
Yeah, just again, you know, and I think about it a couple different ways too on this. Think about the trucking company whose name is going across this right now. Think about the trucking industry whose big old billboard is going across right now saying, look at me, look at our industry. And that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a better name in our industry. And again, to Dale, if a driver's out of hours, they're just out of hours. I mean, that's what notations are for, right?
Yeah, that's what notations. I mean, personal conveyance can enter into that because if you had a plan, if you had plenty of time to do it when you started your day, and this is a run you can normally make, there are some exceptions to be made to it. It is still better to take a violation, even if he's in violation, make the notations on it, what happened. You know, with all the GPS and everything we have available, it's very easy to tell that, you know, the driver's telling the truth, especially in a video like this. We know, hey, traffic's heavy. This is not normal. And so there are some exceptions to the rules.
All right, we got another one coming up here. We've had some lane changes. We had creativity, guys creating their own lanes. Then we have this one.
Yep, and so out of nowhere, we're going to see, ooh, passer, 1, 2, 3, from one side to the other. And you know, driver, again, recognize what was happening, you know, sled off it and just let that crazy four-wheeler get ahead of them and go as fast as they want. Just always have to be aware, you know, no distracted driving, defensive driving habits by letting off the fuel a little bit and letting it get away from you. Another great video because the traffic really, for the most part, is pulling away from this truck.
Sure appreciate the turn indicator, the signal coming out, knowing that you're coming over. I really like how this four-wheeler demonstrates in his signaling exactly his intentions all the while, correct? Did you see that? Did you see that? Great stuff going on here, letting everybody know what he's doing. And how do you see around this truck right here at this speed right here? How do you see around what's that motorcycle? How do you see that motorcycle that's hanging out over there or coming up over there? How do you see that if you're on that side of the vehicle?
You just don't. And like I said, that's what's so crazy and so dangerous about this. And like I said, a lot of times the drivers that are doing this don't even recognize the danger they're putting themselves in and the danger they're putting other people in because they can't see. They have too many blind spots and they can't see the big picture, can't see what's going on around them. Just crazy.
Merge point.
And you got to like it. I mean, you know, this is one we talk about yielding the right of way instead of taking it. And the driver starts slowing down as he sees that this vehicle's coming forward. Driver starts slowing down. He's yielding that right of way instead of taking it. Great job by the driver in this video. Big picture, again, most of the traffic is pulling away from him, so we got the speed and the space. The speed definitely going right. and then we yield right away. Love it, love it, love it.
I'm almost to the point when I look at this video, it looks like the driver is already signaling to every one of these cars up ahead when the video first starts. He's signaling to every single one of them to come on in. He's already made that ID as this video right here. Watch the flash. Bam, bam, bam. Y'all come on in. I got you.
Yep.
I'm going to stay back. We're good. And the driver does a great job of staying over in the lane, handling his business or her business, and understanding how dangerous that merge point is. And handling it right, very, very good job right there, blinking, letting everybody know, come on in.
Yeah, I mean, professional driving at its best. This is what helps build the goodwill in the industry when we have the patience and we have the speed and the space, the defensive driving habits. So just a great job here.
All right, those are the videos of the day. Hey, you brought up a thing. I know we're going into May, and so I just kind of ran up this is from, let me see the date again on this. It's from this is current as of the December as of 2017 call, because it's fatalities on roads. It takes a little while to get that updated. So it's from 2021, but they go back as far as they can to get the information. So it talks about the deadliest highways, and number one is I-4 in Tampa to Daytona Beach, and that occurs in January. But anyway, they're at 1.25 deaths per mile. is how they do that. Then you have number two, I-45, and on I-4 there, Orlando being the deadliest. I-45, 1.02 deaths per mile. The deadliest city would be Houston. That's between Dallas and Galveston. Number three, another Florida place. Number four, I-17 between Flagstaff and Phoenix, with 0.84 deaths per mile being in that area, and Phoenix being the largest one. And then here you go. You have number 5, Miami, Florida, I-95. Number 7, 8, and 9, all Texas, I-175, I-37 between San Antonio and Corpus, and 290 between Junction and Houston, rounding out. You just see, boy, Texas and Florida just really owns kind of that top 10. Just kind of interesting facts in there. We look at that and we think about the deaths in Texas, and to your point, Dale, hashtag in the street Texas, since I think it's November the 19th of 21 years ago, there's been a death every day on a Texas roadway, not just highway, but a Texas roadway. So, man, just all of things that we've just got to pay attention. And it starts with us. It starts with the four-wheelers and the big trucks just working together. And I think, when we look at that last video there, that's just, to me, that was industry working together. Not just the big truck, but the four-wheelers communicating, getting on the same page, and working together to keep the road safe. Right? That was what you see there. And then you have some of these other videos that are like just the exact opposite. I mean, we saw the four-wheeler just bushing through and right there. There's nothing safe about that. I mean, yes, they made it, and yes, they got home, 15, 20 minutes quicker than they would have. But nothing about this is safe. And we don't even know if they made it home alive, I guess, really. Maybe somewhere else down the road they did it. These are the habits that we got to stop. You have this one here that we showed, the big truck. And as we continue to talk about, what we do in our industry, boy, we have to make a better image. This doesn't look good at all. And again, I think about that trucking company who has their billboard going across. You wonder how many people called into that company that day. Extra work being done. And now, I mean, for what? You're on a highway that's stuck. If officers are telling you to go that way, Dave, that's probably different, right, Dale?
100%. Yeah, directed
this
traffic.
This is you making that call. This
Correct.
is you making a call that you really shouldn't make, and it's just not the safe thing to do. Right here, we see intentionality behind the safety. What I love about this one here is, I mean, how many vehicles, cars, big trucks do we see entering into the intersection to get closer to make that left easy? This truck, this driver right here, and it's not a truck, it's a driver, this human driving this professional driver, they are so intent that they're not going to block that intersection. They stay back, and that was phenomenal as well. And then again, you started it off with this video here where the four-wheeler create nothing safe about it. Nothing at all. I mean, and we wonder about these deaths, and that we had, 35,000, 37,000 deaths last year alone on highways across America. Folks, it's just, I mean, so much of this really is in our control, and the decisions we make are sometimes they don't make any sense. They're so short-sighted.
They have, and as you look at the videos, and as we watch them every day, as we continue to watch them every day, we're going to continue to view these and to take lessons from these and understand the difficulties that everyone has out there on the road. I mean, these are sent in so that we can all learn from them. We got these in. We bring these to you. These were all just happened in the last few days, and these are all so that everyone can understand what goes on out there each and every day, how dangerous it is, how difficult it is, and how much you have to really work on making sure yourself is safe and everybody around you is safe. Pretty tough business. Pretty tough out there.
Pretty tough. I mean, but if you have those good habits, the good values, they go a very long ways. You know, habits is defensive driving habits. Values, do we protect lives at all costs? When you have those and you utilize them and you show them day after day, mile after mile, you know, the big trucks in here, we see it so many times, the big trucks are doing the right thing. We've had a couple of great videos there, and those are values. Those are defensive driving habits. Just have to keep showing that, and people will learn from us, can learn from us.
You know, and Sir Rick mentioned a minute ago, he was talking about these highways, and as he was mentioning these highways in both Florida and Texas, I've run these highways, and these are some of the most vacationed highways in the United States. These are some of the most highways where families packed into vehicles, going and many people inside the vehicles, going to vacation, going to different places. And you know what? How are they not distracted in the car? How are you not completely and 100% distracted? Especially in these summer months, running to Galveston, running to Tampa, running to Miami, running in these locations where these are high vacation spots, high vacation areas. So when you do take vacation this year, be mindful, be careful, and be aware that you can't allow the distractions to take over while you're behind the wheel when you've got the most important people in the vehicle with you.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is just plan. Be prepared. You know, give yourself an extra 15 minutes, an extra half hour, because it is summertime. It is vacation. People are going to be in a hurry. So allow yourself some extra time. So you aren't one of those that, I'm running late, I need to, pick up my speed, or start taking chances that you normally wouldn't.
All right, and I'll tell you what, I appreciate that. We will go ahead and close with a quick prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we gather before you today to ask for your grace in all things. Give us the courage and the wisdom today to do what's right, to do what's best, and to do what's mindful out there on the road with purpose, so that we can go out and do what needs to be done. Father, give us that wisdom, that opportunity to make this the best day we've ever had, the most safest day that we ever had. Protect us in all ways that you can, Father, while we were out there on the road. We ask this in your name, we pray. Amen. Hey, everybody, have a great and wonderful day. We will see you all tomorrow at 7 a.m.
All right.
BCB Live,
the safest station in the nation.
Bam!